parables for the virtual movement, affect, sensation, serves as compelling evidence of Massumi's exceptional mastery in navigating the intricate intersections of science, philosophy, and culture. Despite his intentional efforts to avoid a sense of mastery, the depth and complexity of his analyses throughout the volume showcase a profound understanding of the subject matter. In the introduction, Massumi elucidates the overlapping nature of the volume's animating concepts. Rather than positioning himself as an adversary, he presents himself as a rigorous yet willing ally to contemporary modes of critique, particularly within cultural studies. Massumi's consistently original analyses provide practical tools for contemplating the body in its material dimensions, encompassing movement, sensation, and effect. Drawing inspiration from Bergson and Deleuze, Massumi's approach to movement emphasizes the significance of passages and becomings over fixed and static positional coordinates. Enumerating around 15 consequences stemming from his adoption of the Bergsonian perspective, Massumi introduces sensation and intensity to intricately complicate the concept of movement. Expanding on these ideas through Leibniz, he explores the connections between sensation and perception, sensation and memory, and, influenced by Spinoza, sensation and effect. Massumi argues that these relations, movements, and intensities are all tied to the idea that the body coincides with its own transitions, and its transitioning with its potential. This phasing, according to Massumi, is intricately linked to the body's feeling, emergence, and subjectivity. While not all conceptual clusters are present in each essay, Massumi notes that they reappear like a revolving cast of characters throughout the volume, sometimes joining forces or interfering with each other in a tumble of abstract intrigue, occasionally, he admits, barely controlled. The resulting work offers a profound exploration of the intricate interplay between science, philosophy, and culture, establishing Massumi as a masterful guide through these complex terrains. This collection of conceptual role-playing games within the book unfolds as a dynamic exploration of the body and its sensory and affective fluctuations. The trajectory of this intellectual journey, ranging from an examination of affect and its companions as delineated by Deleuze and Guattari, to a celebration of incorporeal materialism coupled with radical empiricism, aligns with Massumi's overarching objective to foster invention and experimentation in the humanities, not through the mastery of concepts, but by uncovering their singularity within carefully chosen examples. Massumi revels in the prospect of pursuing these examples, even embracing the possibility of failure, as a means to set systems in motion, rather than negate them. The proposed methodology involves creative contagion, a process of opening up systems and interconnecting concepts across disciplines to observe the ensuing effects, leaving readers with a unique challenge. Grappling with the abundance of ideas and potential digressions. Fully aware of accusations of shameless poaching and theft from science for the humanities, Massumi unapologetically embraces such charges, emphasizing his interest in the radical connectability of concepts, and the two-way transmission of effect between science and the humanities. Massumi sees the creation of links between science and the humanities as a strategic move, positioning the latter to continually renegotiate their relations with the sciences, and, in the process, reaffirm the uniqueness of their capacities. In elucidating his choice of parable for the title, Massumi underscores its alignment with the logical form of the example and exploration of the incorporeality of the body, the virtual. Delving into the introductory pages, this analysis offers a linear exploration of Massumi's examination of the book's central concepts. The first chapter, The Autonomy of Effect, establishes the foundational concepts that Massumi further elaborates in subsequent chapters. Through a sequence of 4 stories, Massumi interweaves anecdotes with empirical experiments on perception, exploring issues related to effect, intensity, sensation, perception, expression, the virtual, and the actual. Drawing from Gilbert Simondon, Massumi considers the multifaceted concept of emergence in its intricate relations with other conjoined concepts. Emergence, as Massumi defines it, embodies a duality, the simultaneous participation of the virtual in the actual and the actual in the virtual. The chapter concludes with a reflection on the significance of reconsidering the non-human nature beyond a mere construct of human culture, emphasizing the need to rework the concepts of nature and culture to express the irreducible alterity of the non-human in its active connection to the human and vice versa. In the subsequent chapters, Massumi explores the intricate intersections of the actual and virtual, examining their emergence through various facets of corporeality. In The Bleed, where body meets image, he delves into Ronald Reagan's transformative experience as an amputee during the filming of King's Row, terming this pivotal event as the bleeder fusion of the exemplary event and Reagan's everyday reality. This example becomes a springboard for discussing temporal and spatial relations of the body in connection with perceptions, sensations, and associated effects. The unity of ideal images and emotions, as well as the partial nature of such unity, is explored in this context. The subsequent chapters continue to investigate the intersection of the actual and virtual through different lenses. The political economy of belonging. The logic of the relation addresses the notion of the in-between by examining the example of the field in various contexts, including sports, art, politics, and the media. This exploration encompasses play and the becoming of events. In The Evolutionary Alchemy of Reason, Stilarc, Massumi focuses on the creative expressions of Stilarc, an Australian body artist, to ponder the relationship between the body as an idea and the idea as bodily. On the superiority of the analog offers a different perspective on the virtual and the actual, asserting that digital technologies connect to the potential and virtual only through the analog. Massumi emphasizes the synesthetic nature of activities and the need to think about the cooperation of the digital and analog in self-varying continuity. Chapter 5 sets the stage for the subsequent 3 chapters. Chapter 6, Chaos in the Total Field of Vision, explores the tactile and haptic function of vision, while Chapter 7, The Brightness Confound, delves into anomalies of vision and discrepancies between empirical and philosophical accounts of color fields. Chapter 8, Strange Horizon, Buildings, Biograms, and the Body Topologic, discusses the body in topological terms, and explores topological design in relation to corporeality. These chapters collectively center around the body, its diverse sensations, their connections to movement and effect, all viewed from the dual perspective of the humanities and the sciences. Massumi's final chapter, 2 Blue, Color Patch for an Expanded Empiricism, marks the convergence of incorporeal materialism and radical empiricism. This chapter, building on the preceding analyses, juxtaposes philosophical concepts with an early 20th century experiment on memory's effects on color constancy. Massumi reflects on the singularity of experience conveyed through language, drawing from James and Whitehead, to explore how a proto- or semi-scientific object may or may not evolve into a reliable fact within a global ecology of knowledge practices. The chapter culminates in a philosophical narrative highlighting the inexhaustible surprises of the real and the transformative process that solidifies change. These observations bring to the forefront Massumi's meticulous examination of the various process lines that offer insights into and knowledge about an event, notably the tension between the adoption and imposition by the experimenter of the institutional setup of the experiment, and the self-insistence of an autonomy of experience. The culmination of the encounter between incorporeal materialism and radical empiricism is evident in Massumi's scrutiny of the limitations within research in the sciences, philosophy, and cultural studies. In the climactic moments of the book, Massumi scrutinizes the process lines in science that he perceives as adopting a moralistic stance. Speaking in the name of a universal we, that covertly asserts the exclusive right to existence based on monopoly access to the laws and principles behind empirical reality, a trend he characterizes as science is becoming theological whether it cares to admit it or not. He particularly criticizes classical empiricist fundamentalists like Edward O. White for condemning three dimensions: philosophy, art, and cultural studies. Despite Massumi advocating for intersections between the sciences and these dimensions, he reluctantly concludes that few existing process lines allow for the expansion of the empirical field he deems both possible and necessary, especially within cultural studies. In a polemical turn, Massumi asserts that cultural studies, as widely practiced, falls short of singularity at both ends of the nature-culture continuum, due to its adherence to the notion that expression is of a particularity. This deficiency, according to Massumi, results in missing the impersonal or over-personal excesses of ongoing transformation. Cultural studies' lack of processual specificity tends to push some of its practices toward the soft sciences. Massumi argues for a political ecology that emphasizes the coming together or belonging together of processually unique and divergent forms of life. He envisions cultural studies, if it finds a way to express its own processual potential, evolving into a political ecology effectively engaged in symbiosis, a form of amoral collective ethics, characterized by a caring for belonging as such.